Okay, I have a cold. It's pretty miserable here in England, so I thought what better time just do a quick review of the SW Motech Trax Adventure Panniers, which I bought up at the NEC bike show a couple of months ago. The R1200R is a fantastic bike for scooting around, but I do like to do the longer trips. I used to have a R1200 GS, so good for that. And if you're going to use the bike for that kind of stuff, I prefer the aluminium panniers. Don't have a lot of options on the R1200R, despite it being the same frame as the R1200 GS and Adventure underneath. You can't put the standard panniers on, I don't believe. Even if you did, they don't look particularly good on the flow of the bike. So I got some black SW Motech, German engineered, pretty good value, 700 quid for the set, and they fit pretty well on the bike. Best bit about this, the panniers, very well made, typical German engineering, good quality covering on the actual panniers themselves. The seal's not absolutely brilliant. I would put a little bit of silicone grease just to stop, just to help with the sealing a little bit, because they have a rubber seal that runs down the middle. That seal can compress actually pretty easy if you catch a strap in it or something else, and then that pushes it in and you've got that little vulnerability there. Locks are good, bit of a weak point though, because you can only open one end. So for example, the GS Adventure aluminium panniers, you can open either end. The lid is removable on the SW Motech, so you could do that. The lids on the panniers actually open from the back towards the front, which is perfectly fine. It clears I've got a big top box on there. I've got a GV57 litre top box and it still clears those. I think the other thing to bear in mind on the panniers, just to be aware of when you're actually using them, is that you can actually put the panniers on the bike without locking them on. You can't do that on the GS Adventure ones, for example, from BMW. The key actually sticks in the lock and you have to lock it on before you can take the key out. Not the same with the SW Motechs. The panniers would probably stay on if you hit a big bump. There's every opportunity that they're going to come tumbling off and running down the road. Pannier frames themselves are probably the best bit about the whole setup. Not only because you can move them from bike to bike, but they have a frame on a frame. So you've got the rectangular frame which clips into the quick release fasteners, which then sits on the bike. Those quick release fasteners on the bike are really good, very well engineered, fit beautifully, and you genuinely can remove the whole pannier frame in about 10 to 15 seconds. That's great for a bike like an R1200R, because if you've got a bike like mine, you quite often want to use it as a roadster. You don't want to use it as the full beans adventure or touring bike. So to be able to clip those frames off without major engineering screwdrivers and spanners in the garage is a good bonus, and it means I can just clip the frames on when I actually really need them. Another benefit of the system, the internal engineering of the panniers I think is better than the BMW one. They've got plenty of latching points on the actual internal lid, so I've, for example, bought the inner Trax bag, and I've also bought the net, stuff a pair of gloves up in there. I had the Krieger inner bag, which I used to use on the BMW Adventure panniers. That doesn't quite fit, so I've bought the inner bag as well for one of the panniers, just to keep all the drying bits and pieces in. And that's a well-engineered bag, good value as well. It's only about £50. So I think in summary, I like them. They're good value for an aluminium system. Probably most important for me is they function really well, but they also look really good on the bike, and you can clip the panniers off and you can move them from bike to bike, so you haven't got that ongoing additional expenditure, because I've always found when you trade in panniers with a bike, you get virtually no extra value for the panniers. So you